A very good evening to you wherever you are tuned into the nation's number one talk station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. It is 16 minutes gone past the 6 o'clock hour. Today, 30th of December 2024. It's the final day. Yes, the final day of the newsroom for this year, 2024. And on the show today, we're going to be looking at, of course, last week's presidential media chat by the president himself, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. How did you spend your Christmas? I should have started from there. How eventful was it? Was it good? Well, I had the week off, even though I wasn't totally off, but I sure had the week off last week, even though I was still doing some little bit of supervisory work. But it was a good week for me. I enjoyed Christmas because for the first time in a long while, I was with family. And I mean brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces. And I had a very delicious banga soup. Yeah. Emmanuel is jealous, but, you know, it's not my fault. But guys, how was yours? I hope it went well. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of our conversations for today, I just want to, talk about one or two things. Actually, one thing. Traffic. Okay, two things. Traffic. Traffic is number one. And this is me trying to appeal, to the president. I hope he is listening. If he's not, I hope his advisors are listening or people close to him are listening. It will be great, it will be honestly great if the next time the president is traveling home to come and, stay on a holiday or something, if he's moving around, the arrangement of his moving around can be done, slightly different or slightly better than what has happened in the last 2 weeks or thereabouts. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I'm looking for suggestions. Maybe a helipad, could be built somewhere. Because honestly, and I know this happens almost everywhere where, roads have to be blocked for the president to move around and all of that, easy access and all. I get it. It happens almost everywhere. But when you have the Koi or the island axis, just one route in, one route out, and you block the road, you know how catastrophic it is for every other person. And it's not been funny. Every time the president has gone out in the last 2 weeks, it's been tears and sorrows for a lot of road users. And then I also want to talk specifically about, that event center. I'm not going to mention their name, but the event center that is around the Elegushi axis, that's painted white. If you ply that road, you probably know where I'm talking about. I think it's completely responsibility from the police, from LASMA, from everybody that's supposed to control traffic, that event center will constantly cause traffic on the Lekki Expressway and nothing will happen. On the 25th of December, Christmas Day, that axis was literally locked down at 10 o'clock, the two sides of the road, because some party was going on at the event center. And people parked. In fact, there was just one axis. On the lane coming from Aja, there was just one axis that car could pass because everybody that owns a Jeep or a car in Lagos wanted to be at that party. I think, to even make matters worse, police was there, LASMA officials were there, and allowed people park in the middle of the road, all because some party was going on. So between the combination of the president and party goers, every other person that wants to use the road has to beg for space. Anyway, my guest is already here. So let me turn my attention from the traffic issues we've suffered over the last 2 weeks, most especially last week, to the main conversation for today. And of course, we're assessing the president's inaugural media chat that he had last week. And joining me on the show right now is economist Gbolahan Olojede, joining us on the newsroom this evening. A very good evening to you, sir. Welcome to the newsroom.
Yeah, good evening. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you once again on the show. I haven't heard you on Nigeria Info in a while. Or is it me that is missing it?
Well, I'll slow down a little bit.
Okay. Merry Christmas and, of course, Happy New Year in advance to you. I should start from there.
I wish you the same.
Okay. Let's start. Let me start, first of all, with a general overview. What's your general overview of the president's media chart last week?
Well, I think there were some truths, and there were also some confirmation around certain things that people were not clear about. I also think there were, what I would call some rather ambitious comments from what the president said. Some of those truths, for example, were the realities that, the president said, I'm not going to cut down my cabinet. I'm not going to trim the size of the bureaucracy. There have been a lot of things around the issue of trimming the bureaucracy, maybe probably reducing the number of people in the cabinet and the rest of it. People see it as a way of curbing the cost of governance. But the president was very clear that is not going to happen. He gave a reason. I don't think that the reason is the real reason. His reason is that, these people were selected based on, his own perceived efficiency, their ability to help him achieve what he wants to achieve. But I think there's a bigger reason. The bigger reason might be political and not necessarily economic or capacity to achieve what he believes they will help him to achieve. Some of the names that are on the cabinet, if you ask the average Nigerian on the road, they can't even remember them. So you're wondering what exactly these people have been doing. And if they're doing something that is impacting the lives of the people, it would be nice that there are certain engagements with those people to say, look, this is what my ministry has been doing. But there are so many of them sitting in that cabinet that we cannot exactly say this is what they are doing. So the reason cannot be purely efficiency. It appears that there is political exigencies as part of the reason why some of those guys were left in the administration.
You more or less, just took the first question off my mouth, because that was the first thing I was about to ask you. But let me now, go further in that conversation. If on one hand the president, as part of his media chart, justifies his removal of petrol subsidies, and to be honest, as much as it has cost us pain over the last 18 months, let me state it clear that I think is the correct decision. Sadly, it's about 10, 12 years late. Should have been done as far back as 2012 if the same president had allowed it to happen back then. But that's story for another day. I don't want to get into all that politics. But the point I'm trying to make is I support the decision to take away petrol subsidies. It was about time. The economic reality of the country meant it should be taken off. But how does the average Nigerian juxtapose taking subsidies, which means cost of things have gone up, inflation has gone up, the things we used to buy for 50 naira 18 months ago, we're buying it for 200 naira, 250 naira. How does the average Nigerian juxtapose that with the president insisting, hey, I'm not trimming down my government, I will continue to do what I need to do because they're efficient?
Okay, I'm with you on the fact that removing fuel subsidy is a right policy. People like myself have advocated that even before he became president. Don't forget that the last administration also tried to remove it. towards the end of that administration, after the PIB has been passed, and PIA.
Technically, that was actually the removal. It's just that President Tinubu just announced it, 6 months later. Yeah, but go ahead.
Exactly. So the PIA had no provision for subsidy. So President Buhari tried to make that happen. So look, there's nothing like that in the law. Can we just go ahead and do the right thing according to the law? But because it was close to the election period, that was not going to be a good sign-off note for him. It was going to have a very big backlash. In fact, I remember vividly that NLC's threat was that administration will receive the biggest protest that will make what was the other one? The Lekki protest to be a child's play. That was one of the threats around that period. So what did the president simply do then? He just moved it 18 months down the lane. By that time, he wasn't going to be president any longer. So whoever is the president will have to deal with that reality. The fact was, of course, the current president removed it on the day of his inauguration. There are people who also believe that, while this policy is the right policy, is the approach the right approach? That's another debate entirely. Even for me, I believe that the approach could have been slightly different without removing the reality that we must deal with fuel subsidy. As a matter of fact, if it didn't deal with the fuel subsidy, we would have gone belly up by now. Because literally what we're doing was borrowing. As if you go out there, you borrow money, you carry the money in a chopper, and you start spraying it from the chopper for the people to catch whatever they can catch. That was what that subsidy has become as at that time. And it wasn't sustainable. However, when you have fuel move from 200 naira or 190 naira, whatever it is, to 400, 500, 600 to 1,000, 1,100 thereabout, it was a big shock treatment to the economy. And we saw how that has aggravated inflationary pressure and the rest of it. So those are the issues that we now have to, we have been dealing with. Not that we have to deal with. We have to continue to deal with it anyway because it is still here with us. And we now have to be able to look at what are supposed to be the gains of that policy. Are we harvesting and harnessing those gains of the policy? If we have made so much savings by removing subsidy, in my opinion, one of the areas we should have invested is in public transport system. That has been my advocacy even before this government, that you make savings from removing subsidy and you plug a good part of this into public transportation system. Apparently that has not happened. A lot of the gains have been redistributed to the state, of course, according to the distribution formula. What did some of these states do? They carried the same excess, increased money that they have received into the foreign exchange market and started to buy up dollars. If dollars go in their favor, they take the profit. If it goes against them, the state will bear the brunt. You see, so those are some of the issues that have not paid up, but maybe the government will have realized this over time and make certain correctional attempts. The other part along that same oil thing is that the refining space appears to be going in the right direction. Dangote has come online. We heard also that the old refinery in Port Harcourt started to produce. Of course, there were certain arguments about whether they were refining crude or they were blending certain products. But whether even when they are blending certain products, what it means is that they are adding certain values. So the value has something, it counts for something, and it will help the economy.
And today they've added worry, to the mix.
Exactly. The beauty of that is that we will be able to produce, number one, what we are going to consume in country. That will help us to save foreign exchange. We have been told that a chunk of our foreign exchange goes into importing this white product, this refined product from wherever we import them from.
Whether it's Malta.
So we'll say that. Yes. The other part is that when we produce and we produce more than we can consume, we can begin to export. And as we export, we also earn foreign exchange. So when you look at the fact that we are saving foreign exchange by not importing what we used to import, and then we are earning foreign exchange by exporting what we are now producing, the chances are brighter that we will be able to stabilize the foreign exchange volatility that we have experienced over the period.
Now, so, go ahead, wrap up.
And from that perspective, it looks to me as if 2025 could be promising from foreign exchange stability perspective. So that what we have experienced over the last 1 month when CBN introduced a platform that makes bidding, buy and selling more transparent. We've seen the Naira appreciate. You might call it significant because at some point it was at 1750. The last time that I changed was at 1650. That is the 100 Naira gap. If we can sustain that, and then all these things we're talking about will help to support that the government has spoken about in its budget might actually be realistic.
Okay, we do not have so much time on the show because I would have loved to take you up on the the exchange rate talk, because I have heard some others suggest that, hey, is the loads of Nigerians who are coming into the country this December period that they're bringing in a lot of dollars. Maybe it's the excess that has has made the exchange rate come up. But that's a story for another day. I wouldn't want us to dwell too much on it. But
come last year. Come last year.
You made mention of the fact that borrowing and all of that to sort out subsidies. The average Nigerian listening to you on the newsroom this evening still hears Nigeria borrowing money. On our news, we reported today about the loan from the World Bank. Make them understand, why are we still borrowing if we're supposedly saving money from removing petrol subsidies?
Well, we spoke in my last comment. I spoke about the fact that the money we are saving from releasing subsidy is being shared to the states. Some of these states are not even patriotic enough to ensure that will count for their people. Rather, take it to the foreign exchange market and start to bid up the dollars. So essentially, we have not been able to make the savings to count for the people.
So we're just going round and round in circles.
Exactly. It has not counted for the people. And that is why the pain is even aggravated. You cannot move from 200 to 1,000 and there will not be pain. Admittedly, also, you cannot have any reform that is significant and will not come with certain pains. But these pains have to be anticipated, have to be better managed, and we have to have a transition agenda for moving away from the pain into a period of comfort into the future.
Okay, I'll leave it at that. One issue that has dominated the news over the last couple of months has been the tax policy, as put out by the president. He's been adamant about it. It's met with a lot of opposition. In fact, just a few hours ago, was that yesterday, the presidency, asked the what state governor was that again? Not Niger. Bauchi state governor, to retract some of the comments credited to him because the presidency felt it was a threat. But in all of this, he has said that he's not backing down. The president, he echoed that in the presidential media chat last week. What do you make of these tax policies he's trying to introduce and the overall effect it will have on the economy going forward?
I think it is one of the most beautiful piece of work done at that level in recent years. Beautiful piece of work. I didn't say a perfect piece of work because it is not perfect. It is important for us to understand the nature of public policies. Public policies are not meant to be perfect, but they're meant to deliver more benefits to more people. And it is on that basis that they move. Let me give you a very obvious example. If grid electricity is made available to everybody in Nigeria today, what do you think will happen to the generator industry and all the artisans that live on repairing generators and the rest of them? It will have an effect on another segment. But are we now going to say we will not give electricity to the people? If you give the people potable water today, they can open their taps and drink water. What will happen to all those sachet water producers and even some of the bottled water producers in the country? There will be certain, give and take. This is the general nature of public policy. It will never be perfect and impact everybody equally and positively. But will it impact the most positively? And that is what this tax bill will do. However, there are contentious areas which has made, especially the northern part of the country, to oppose it. I like the approach of what the president has said. Look, we will sit down with them and negotiate. So that part, we will negotiate it so that this bill can move on. Otherwise, we will, because of 1 out of 10 items, I'm just using 10 as an arbitrary number.
Yeah, I get it.
We will throw away the baby and the bathwater because of one item. So the president should go there, we'll sit down with them, have some negotiations so that we can move ahead with that beautiful piece of work.
Finally, I'll need to ask you this on the tax issue. Do you not think that because the president has a second term, most likely he would want to go for? All politicians are the same. I'm not saying anything, Sha. Don't you think that the politics or the politicking, that is obviously involved in this tax issue might get to the point that it erodes whatever brilliance the president wants to achieve with this policy?
Well, there is no doubt there are elements of possibilities of what you're saying happening. But at the same time, what Nigeria actually needs, of course, I know that every politician wants a re-election, but what Nigeria actually needs is a leader who is saying, I will do what I think is the best for this country, even if that means I will not come back. That is what the country actually needs.
Well, the president has said so too.
Having said that, I believe that this president wants a re-election, and I will shoot for that, which might be one of the reasons why it is better for him to sit down and negotiate the contentious part of that bill, so that we don't suffer 90% because of that 10%. That 10% we can revisit over time. But if we don't do what he's proposing right now, that bill may die. Don't forget, the president himself is not going to veto. He has to still go through that National Assembly. And the people who are opposing the bill are more than the people who are for the bill. The North has more representative in the National Assembly than the South.
But you could argue it's not all Northern members who are actually opposed to it.
Of course.
Finally, before I let you go, sir, the president says he doesn't like price control. There is not one policy he would want to put in place, and I'm talking about, of course, price of goods and services across the country as a result of the inflation. Is that as an economist, is that something you agree with?
It shouldn't control prices. The idea has been mooted in the past by this administration, but I think it was dropped along the line because it doesn't make sense. It's a contradiction to some of the direction that the government itself said it is pursuing. You cannot be pursuing a free buy and sell market, and at the same time you're seeking to control prices. And you want to control prices of something you don't produce. Let the people who are producing determine what the price will be at the end of the day. What the government needs to do is to intervene at the level of boosting the production. If the demand grows significantly, it will automatically impact the price. That is how it works. So if he wants to take food, which is a king when it comes to inflationary pressure in this country, the real solution is production. It's not determine how much the owner of the corn should sell his corn. It is to produce more corn and put it in the marketplace. That is the right solution.
All right, that's a good place to end the conversation. But I would love to thank you once again, Mr. Gbolahan Olejide, for joining us on the newsroom this evening. It's been a short interview, but very insightful.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Lagos. That was, of course, economist Gbolahan giving us his thoughts about some of the economic issues and maybe political issues came out of President Bola Tinubu's media chat last week. If I'm also being honest, I think that between President Buhari and this first one that happened last week, the presidency needs to do more. Nigerians want to see the president live and direct, talking to them, taking questions from them live, not the repackaged, edited, and all of that, interviews that have been done since President Buhari took office about 9 years ago. We actually want to see the president have a live chat, and take live questions and let it be a live conversation. And I think probably we will all be better for it. Well, moving on the show, the next segment of the show brought to you by the Lagos State Government, and we call it the Lagos Newsroom. On this segment of the show, we'll take you on a journey of some of the big things, that concerns you, the Lagosian or the resident of Lagos, right here on the dial. Well, on today's edition of the show, we'll be taking a critical look at Dirty December. That's a language that, of course, I don't know if it was coined by the Gen Z people, but it has caught up with everybody. Most of us Nigerians want to come back to the country during the December period to come have fun, party, because to a large extent it's mostly cold, in some European and American cities. So we want to come back home to the slightly hot weather in the country, and enjoy ourselves. And of course, right here in Lagos, the economic capital of Nigeria, you see quite a number of these returnees. I'm very certain that they made up the large number of the people that caused that traffic on Christmas Day along the Lekki Ekpe Expressway and every other place that they've caused traffic doing party. But anyway, right here in Lagos, it was flagged off by the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu at the annual Lagos Boat Regatta at the 5 Cowrie Creek. Well, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu described the event as a celebration of the rich culture and aquatic heritage of the people of the state. The president, by the way, was supposed to have gone for that event, but I think something happened on that day. Yeah, I think it was the day of the Stampede. Yeah, and the president had to cancel his movement. Well, the governor says the event is not only a celebration of Lagos's rich cultural heritage, but also a vibrant showcase of the city's unique connection to water, which is an essential element of identity and livelihood. We're going to listen to the governor very soon, but let me let you know that he says the regatta reflects the resolve of the state to promote and embrace the tradition of the people. And all I can say here is about time.
Our boat regatta, the beginning of what will be a lot of activities that's going to happen during this yellow tide season. And this one being the very first, which is the Lagos Boat Regatta, which will be a demonstration of 1/3 of Lagos in terms of landmass. 1/3 of Lagos is surrounded by water. So we need to be able to use our waterways not only as a means of transportation, but as a strong ecosystem for tourism. And so today, you'll be seeing displays of various sizes of water infrastructure, display of boat regatta from various divisions of Lagos. Indeed, all the 5 divisions of Lagos are in one form or the other around water. From Ekpe to Ikorodu, to Badagry, to Lagos Island, to Apapa, to Abu Wad, everywhere there's water. And so all of us are coming together to showcase the beauty of Lagos water and all of the display that we're going to see on water this afternoon. At some point, the procession will also pass in front of the Queen's Oyinkan Abami, where we're lucky that we'll have Mr. President also around. He will also be joining us maybe another hour and a half from the various stands. We've got various stands all around, moving on the 5 Cowrie from the boat club out there, the yacht club right beside, the jet ski club, now here at the Wings, at the Lagoon restaurant, at Echo Bank stand, at Calverton, at the Civic Center, at Lasua Jetty by Fal, everywhere, all around, right down like that, there is activity, and also to all the way to the Lekki Koiling Bridge. There are activities. People are in different stands there, and they're waiting to see the procession, right? So it's going to be a day, an evening, an afternoon of sheer, tourism, sheer fun, sheer, understanding what the beauty of the waterways of Lagos looks like. And so let us just relax back, enjoy the beauty, the serenity of Lagos, enjoy the tourism potential of Lagos, enjoy the hospitality of Lagos. Don't let's talk about the traffic now. Let's see the traffic on the waterways. Let's see the waterways. Let's see the traffic on the waterways with all the jet skiing and all the things that are going to happen. What we're going to do it with a highest degree of safety. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no other place to go to. Forget what is happening. Just stay here, soak it in, enjoy the view of the sheer ambience of Lagos on the waterways. Let all the traffic, let them come on the waterways today. We'll deal with it.
That was the governor, just as the show commenced last week. Unfortunately, like I had mentioned earlier, the president couldn't make the event as he was scheduled to because of the tragedy that had occurred earlier in the day. Meanwhile, despite all of that low-key format of the event, it still attracted lots of attendance from many Lagosians and Nigerians from the diaspora. And this is the point where, I think that the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture probably need to do, not probably, but let me state as a statement of fact, they need to do a lot more in terms of publicity, in terms of letting people know about these kinds of events. Because if I'm being honest, I think I even found out about it because the president cancelled his scheduled plan to actually go there. And not until people started seeing, the activities. There were quite a number of people who didn't even realize that such an event was scheduled for such a day. Imagine if a lot more Lagosians knew about it, how much turnout we probably would have had. And I'm hoping that by this time next year, at the end of December 2025, when we'd have such a thing again, it'll have more coloration, more attendance, and of course more people enjoying the view and enjoying the tourism potentials of Lagos State. Well, the Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Toke Benson Awoshika, says that this year's theme, which is Our Water, Our Heritage, Our Life, emphasizes the integral role the waterways play in shaping the history and identity of Lagosians. Let's listen to her.
I'm particularly thrilled that after several attempts to hold this spectacular event for some years now, the event is finally holding today. Making up efforts and resources committed into organizing this boat regatta worthwhile. This year's theme, Our Water, Our Heritage, Our Life, underscores the integral role our waterways play in shaping our history and identity as Lagosians. The regatta is not only a showcase of our vibrant traditions, but also a testament to our shared commitment to fostering tourism, cultural pride, and unity. Through the dazzling display of decorated boats, exhilarating traditional races, and captivating water sports, we celebrate the boundless creativity and dynamism of our people. Beyond its cultural significance, this event serves as a driver of economic growth by boosting tourism and creating opportunities for local businesses. It further cements Lagos's reputation as a tourism and premier global hub. I will commend the visionary leadership of Mr. Governor, Mr. Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, whose unwavering dedication dedication to the development of our waterways and tourism infrastructure has made events like this possible. His administration's efforts in promoting sustainability and environmental conservation are truly commendable and align perfectly with the essence of this occasion. To our esteemed partners, participants, I express my heartfelt gratitude. Your invaluable contributions have played a pivotal role in ensuring the success of this event. Distinguished guests, I invite you all to immerse yourself in today's festivities as we come together to celebrate Lagos, our water, our heritage, our life.
That was, of course, the Lagos State Commissioner for Tourism, Arts and Culture, Toke Benson Woshika. Of course, we've been talking over the last 10-12 minutes or thereabouts about the boat regatta that took place last week right here in Lagos. And, of course, like you heard from her, it's been in the works. The plan has been there all this while. Somehow, it just didn't materialize until last week. And, of course, we're hoping that next year it will be bigger and better. And of course, for everybody coming to do Dirty December, it'll be something people look forward to. Remember, that's how the Calabar Carnival started. Sadly, it has gone sideways. But the point I'm trying to make is there was a time in this country some years ago where almost everyone looked forward to going to Calabar to spend 3-4 days Christmas. Imagine the potential of that. I'm sure that's part of the reasons the Lagos State government, is ensuring that this is done. Other street parties and other celebrations are done just to add more color and more visibility to, of course, the Gen Z Dirty December. Because there's more potentials in the sense that people are coming home, hotels are booked, food is being bought. Trust me, you don't know how much people have spent over the last 2 weeks on hotels, on food, on going to the different places. Sadly, some of the beaches around here, have had issues as a result of the Lagos coastal line. But even at that, people still throng these places. And of course, it just makes Lagos a better place for us all. Well, that's the size of our package this weekend. And the last show, the newsroom for this week. The next time I come your way, well, we'll all be saying, Happy New Year! Happy New Year! Oh, my cricket voice. On behalf of my producer today, Emmanuel Onwoka, who's done an amazing job, by the way. Probably buy him dinner this evening. Give him the remnants of my banga soup. Thank you, Lagos. Thank you, everyone. I'll be back again next week, Monday, for another edition. Yeah, next year. What did I say? I'll be back here next year. Until then, Happy New Year, everyone. And may 2025 be the best we have seen in a while.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
In the cooking game, you need a winning game plan. I'm not just talking about your fresh ingredients, utensils, or cooking skills. I'm talking about your choice of seasoning. Your game plan is incomplete without Maggi chicken flavor. Made with a flavorful formation of onions, celery, turmeric, it's the game changer. Elevate the taste of your everyday dishes with delicious rich chicken flavor. Oh yeah, let's